Three guards, they're 3-point guards. What kind of pressure does that put on the defense?
Yeah. So Paul, I think the biggest thing is any one of those guys can have the ball at the end of the game and score off of a high screen. I mean, that's the hardest thing, is the way that those guys all can go off of the screens. I mean, you've got a lot of ability, both shooting the ball, but certainly then, getting inside and probing the defense on the dribble, and you think you've got them stopped, and they head fake and get to the line, or they're very creative in their finishes. I mean, it's a really unique challenge to have. You're going to have probably two guys on the court almost all of the time that are that good off ball screens.
And they're all kind of different players too.
Very different
in terms of how they play.
Yeah, very different. And Isaiah Thomas has been a great addition to what was already one of the the scarier teams, both in transition and again off those high screens. So but they all can do a lot of things. And then I was just talking to Sean Grandy about this, and then you got Gerald Green, who might be the most explosive out of anybody on a given night. So it's a tough backcourt to stop, that's for sure.
Their three-guard lineup a little more offensive minded than where you go Rondo, Bradley Smart.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really defend to their strengths. I think they get after you. I mean, from what I've seen, they're into the ball. They're physical for their size. So, our numbers aren't what we want them to be. And I think that theirs are a little bit better than ours right now. So I don't know if it's necessarily that I can say that they're more offensive minded than we are.
Is it more advantageous, Brad, for you guys to play a little bit more in half-court sets against this particular team?
On offense?
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I think us being able to get up the floor is really important. I think the great myth about tempo, in my opinion, is that you control tempo by guarding someone. You control tempo by getting back and setting your defense, and then you make them take clock to score. But that has nothing to do with how you want to attack offensively. So it's a lot of times. In fact, it was interesting because I thought we kind of had a reputation that Butler of slowing things down. And in our best teams, it was just because we were better defensively for longer periods of time, and we usually shot it a lot quicker than they did. So I think there's a little bit of a myth to that. I think you have to be you on offense. Defensively, you have to set your defense so that you can help slow them down.
Coach Alex Lynn, what do you see about him and his progress?
Yeah, so good progress. He beat us here last year on a tip-in. So I don't know how the rest of the 81 games went, but I remember that one. And he made a huge play in a big moment. And so he's a huge guy. They've got two legitimate size centers with he and Plumlee that both offer some rim protection, and they're just going to get better and better. They're young guys.
On a night like tonight with their three guards, how much could you potentially miss a guy like Marcus Smart?
Well, I think we miss him every night, but I think that we've just got to make sure that we are even tighter with our stuff. I think it's more of a game for Phil Pressey than the other night, and so I just think that we've got to make sure that we are as good as we can be on those guys all the time. You have to play with a high sense of urgency all the time, in this league, but certainly against teams like this.
Brad, how difficult is it to, just going back to Friday, when LeBron's playing with one, like he did the other night, how tough is that?
Well, the biggest impact LeBron made on the game, in my opinion, was he guarded at one point Kelly Olynyk, Jared Sullinger, Rondo, and Jeff Green. There's nobody else in the league probably that can do that and do it with the same level of success. So their ability to switch with him, their ability to play versatile with him, is a huge factor in things. And then obviously offensively, KYRIE Irving sprints in and sets a ball screen for LeBron James, and he slips it about 2 steps early. You switch, not switch, you got two little guys on him anyways, and he's 260 pounds and the best athlete on the floor coming downhill. Tough guy to stop.
Talked about their three guards tonight. All season, essentially, like every game, you played against the team. Lowry, Irving.
Darren Williams, and you've got stoppers. You got good guard stoppers. Like, what does it say about the league and the talent?
No, I think the biggest, obviously the talent 1 through 15 on every team is so different than college, but the biggest difference to me are how good the point guards and two guards are as far as being able to use these screens. I mean, they're so creative. If you can direct and connect to a college player, then you usually can keep them where you want to go, and you can be physical enough and those type of things, then they at least have to really earn their night. These guys, some of these guys aren't affected by it, and they're just a really good league in that regard, and I think that's why, one of the things that that's become fashionable is to keep the ball on the sideline and ice screens. These guys are figuring that out pretty quickly. They're really good against it. So I think you just have to continue to strive to do technically everything you can to make it as hard as possible. And you got to take away the points that are within your control. What Kyrie Irving did at the start of the fourth quarter, not within our control. We guarded those well, but we got to do a better job of getting back on defense, so we're not playing 1 versus 2 for multiple possessions in that game, so that those points don't hurt quite as bad.
As a coach, before Marcus got hurt, was this game almost compelling to you in the way that they do have 3 really good offensive guards, but you have 3 really good defensive guards?
Well, I think it's the most. I think that it's the what draws you, other than his personality and what kind of kid he is. What draws you to Marcus is the chance to be an excellent defender on the toughest position in the league to guard.
Brad, you talked a little bit about getting back on defense. Phoenix is probably a top 3 fast break team, both in opportunities and in points per 100 possessions. Do you think there's an increase in points in getting back tonight, or in really grabbing offensive rebounds, which you guys have done a good job of?
Way more important to get back, in my opinion, because and I was frustrated the other night with how we finished the game. I thought we got stagnant offensively, but we scored 121 points. We have to win the game, and so I think it's a lot more important that we get back than we crash. I mean, our 4s and 5s will still crash, and hopefully we've moved the ball well enough that we have some opportunities.
Some teams actually de-emphasize offensive rebounding as a trade-off for better transition defense. And do you go that far?
No, I just trying to emphasize, and have been trying to emphasize, our transition D, and for the most part I don't think it's been too bad, but the other night it wasn't good.
Are you better now defensively than you were at the start of the season?
No, I mean, obviously at the start of the season we've got a lot more in, and we've got a lot, but we need to play better. To be candid, we need to play better defensively. I think it's not about what you talk about. It's about how you execute it. And, at the end of the day, Marcus certainly adds to that, and I don't want to take away with his presence, but bottom line is he's not playing, for this week or, maybe next week. So we've got to make sure that we, get better and play the way we need to play.